In this video, we're going to be talking about the Friday practice 1 and practice 2 in Abu Dhabi. There's a lot to talk about. I just want to close the loop on the George Russell and Max Verstappen dialogue that's been happening and respond to some of your comments on my previous video. I've got to talk about a few things Anthony Davidson said in commentary, and Crofty said as well in commentary. We got Franco's little accident. Again, he's struggling to build a weekend. And also we've got to talk about some interesting radio message. So a little bit to run through in this one. If you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. Now, the first thing on the docket is just the way some of you guys interpreted my video on Max and George. And I think when I brought up the quotes of George Russell, you guys thought that I was taking that as being a literal quote from George, and I don't have any other quote to go off, so that's what I go off. I guess if that's your takeaway from the video, guys, I think you missed the point. The point of the video is that George is rocking the boat, and that's one of the ways you could try to get underneath the skin of Max Verstappen, and then that might open up some opportunities in the race. Guys, that's the only way I see for anyone contesting Max Verstappen to move forward. Like, he's too good on the track. What I'm saying is a testament to the strength of Max Verstappen. Like, if you want to take him down on the track, like, that might be a harder job than to try to unsettle him mentally and then see if that leads to any opportunities on the track. What George is trying to do is, if Max likes to play on a grass court, pull him out of that grass court and see if he likes to play on other courts, hard courts or clay courts, to give tennis analogies. Again, to give another tennis analogy, guys, and this is where I get a lot of my mindset, where I've learned a lot of my mindset for coaching, that I can coach some of my drivers is from tennis, because it's one-on-one. It's like warrior against warrior. There's not much you can do in terms of having a race car underneath you. It's all in the details in tennis. So it's the equivalent of, like, let's say Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic are in the change rooms together before the Grand Slam final. What do you say in that moment? Hey, good luck, Novak. I'm gonna smash you. I'm gonna destroy you. I hope you're ready. Like, what are the word? What are the little? These are the little details, guys. What are the little threads at which you can pull at to potentially upset the psyche of the other person, so that when you go out on court, you've got some sort of mental edge? It's that, guys. I'm 100% clear and certain in what I'm saying. It's a good move for George to do this. There's some of you guys in the comments that said that I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, maybe you misunderstood me, or maybe didn't quite understand that it doesn't matter whether what George said was true or not. Whether you rock the boat left to right, or you rock the boat right to left, that's not here nor there. Okay, so the fact that he's rocking the boat, and he's got that strong mentality, and he's willing to try to upset the harmony inside Max's head, that's got to be the play, guys. So, like I say, I'm clear on that one. Now, check this out. Anthony Davidson in commentary says, and I quote here, there may have been some over-egging in the steward's room. By over-egging, he means over-exaggeration. There may have been some over-egging in the steward's room, but that's what you've got to do as a racing driver, and Max didn't like that. Well, hello, that's like, to my point, guy, like, please see my previous video. That's exactly what I've been saying. Like, that's what you got to do. Like, that's what he gets paid to do, is crowd and question the referee. And again, you can't blame George for that. He's not the one handing out the penalties. It's the stewards who are being influenced by George, potentially, who are the ones handing out the penalties. So I'm not going to harbor on this much further during the weekend, because, like I say, I'm clear on this, and I'm 100% correct on this as well. Let's take a look at one image that I just wanted to share with you guys as well. And this is Fernando Alonso's mindset. And Fernando Alonso, being a double-time world champion, this is what he had to say. And this is a quote. So you guys can trust this one. All the drivers who have fought Max for championships so far haven't really been able to intimidate him. Hopefully it'll be my turn and I can make history. I'm waiting for you. So how do you guys interpret that? I mean, it's the same thing that I'm saying. You got to try to get in this guy's head in order to upset the beautiful driving. Like I said before, guys, it's a testament to how good Max Verstappen is that you can't take him down on the racetrack. You've got to look at other avenues to try to take him down. So, like I said, guys, I'm clear on that. Fernando Alonso supports me. Anthony Davidson supports me. And I don't need the support anyway because I know what I'm talking about here. I'm a specialist, technical coach and mentor for open formula drivers. I like the play from George Russell. It's your only play against four-time world champion Max Emilian Verstappen. And all you can do is try. And whether or not what he said in the steward's room or what Max said was true or not true, it doesn't really matter. You've missed the point if that's your argument. Rock the boat one way or another is the play. All right, so it was really interesting to hear Anthony Davidson. It was really interesting to hear David Croft also say that he was talking about 2021 Abu Dhabi, of course, which I've just put out a video on. And he goes on to say that on that night, Lewis drove well enough to deserve an 8th title. And that's why I'm like, yeah, maybe he drove well, but well enough is probably a step too far. You guys have seen my video that I put out the other day talking about why Lewis didn't pull to the inside and Abu Dhabi being an assessment in racecraft, and Max wins with what Max had, the soft tire and P2. And if you give Max everything that Lewis had, ability to control the race restart, 1 lap to go, no DRS, the quickest race car, all of these other advantages, then Max is going to convert. Like, of course he's going to convert in that position. Like, that's what Max does. He gets it done on the track. He gets it done every single time. So it was interesting to hear that Crofty say Lewis drove well enough to deserve an 8th title. I don't think he did, because on the match point, there was no defense and he lost the lead and that cost him. So I think my standpoint on that would be very different if Lewis did defend and there was DRS and it allows for just, Max to just blow past. That's a very different situation. I look at that like, well, Lewis has done nothing wrong here. Does Max deserve the title? That's very different for me. But when Lewis doesn't defend and Max sneaks up the inside and just like, at that point, should Lewis deserve that title? I think you're dreaming. All right, so it was interesting to hear in FP2, Max is starting to talk about understeer again in the Red Bull, and George is starting to talk about rear instabilities with the Mercedes. So all the guys are starting to talk about all the usual car characteristics that we've seen throughout the year. The Red Bull struggling with understeer, and the Mercedes obviously struggling with rear instability. And we've got a few long corners here. I said in my live stream, turn 5 is kind of in between a hairpin and a long corner, but not here nor there. And turn 8, I believe it is, the long turn 8, maybe it's turn 9. That one's, in between a long corner of constant radius and increasing radius as well. So that's probably where Max is struggling. And we went on board with him. Jesus, that Red Bull looked terrible. And this is what I said to you guys with the sprint race in Qatar. I said to you guys, Max is going to struggle with front tire life in this race. And he struggles with it in the sprint. And then I came out and said in the live stream, well, he's got an opportunity. He had an opportunity to resolve for that in the main race. And now that he's missed the practice session here and we've got a normal weekend, let's see if Max can resolve for this front tire issue. If he can, genius. Absolute genius. I'll be following this weekend to see how he manages to resolve for that, because he and the team did an amazing job in Qatar to completely flip the story of that weekend. And I'll be interested to see if he can do the same here. And if not, why not? I'll be interested to see. Franco Colapinto again, guys, runs wide at the long corner of turn 8 or turn 9 and breaks the floor, misses the second part of practice 2. Franco put together a weekend, mate. What are you doing? It just seems like, I know why he's not putting together a weekend, because he's walking around with teddy bears in the paddock. He's interacting with fans. He's interacting with photographers. He's talking to girls in the paddock. He's flirting a little bit. He's, what else is he doing? He was playing golf before the weekend. You get out what you put in, Why are you playing on golf? You should be on a call with me saying, hey, this is a long corner of increasing radius. Traction is very important. No, doesn't get it. Anyway, so you kind of get what you deserve in a way. And I'm here for that. I follow Formula One for its technical excellence, for its meritocracy, so that the best man can win. And so to see Franco like not putting in the right effort and getting the outcomes that he deserves, mate, it is what it is. But it was also interesting to see, and I posted this during the week, and I said, James Vowles came out and said, and this is old news, but he came out a while ago and said, break everything. 23, 24, 25, I don't care about it. My eyes are on 26, break everything. And I understand the intention. His intention was like, try things, don't be afraid to try and learn and fail and grow. And that's what should have been said, not break everything. Anyway, I feel like that's what he should have said to his guys was try something or learn and grow. But we need to be getting into Q3 when there's opportunities. And if the car's quick enough, we need to be collecting those points. And don't break the car because we need that budget to spend on performance, and we need sponsors, and we need data and information. Try to keep the car in one piece. And, when it's practice too in Abu Dhabi and you're just still finding your way around, don't try not to crash the car or break any parts, and just build a weekend, build a practice 1, a practice 2, a practice 3, a qualifying 1, 2, 3, and a race. And just put together a weekend without mistakes. That should be the words of James Vowles. So I'm not sure about the leadership, to be honest there. I mean, James gets a lot of credit, but I'm not sure, and the reason I say that is because look at the results. Don't listen to me or James. Look at the results. They've struggled with Latifi. They're struggling with Alex. I feel so sorry, Alex and Franco. I feel so sorry for the mechanics at Williams who have to work their backside off every single time because the drivers don't have a mentor who can tell them, this is what's important today. Get the information we need, come home, have a shower, and go to bed. And don't give us any more troubles than that. So, the boys are not focused, unfortunately. It was also interesting to hear that George's race engineer came on the radio and said, hey, George, currently you're managing in turn 15 more than the others. And then George replies, what do you mean? I've done one lap. And again, guys, I just want to highlight to you guys that, and I don't know all the details here. Maybe the race engineer is right, or maybe George is wrong, or whatever. I don't know. But sometimes the race engineers are clumsy. It wouldn't surprise me if this is just the out of context, silly message from a race engineer. Again, guys. So I think sometimes we give Formula One too much credit. We're told on the outside that it's the best guys in the world and the best engineers and best brands and best teams and everything. And there are the best guys in Formula One. But there's also a lot of subpar, mediocre professionals mixed in there as well. You only need to go back to Las Vegas to see when they called Carlos in and then didn't call him in to see some clumsy race engineering. So I don't need to explain to you guys how clumsy these race engineers can be sometimes. All right, free practice 1. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at the results and see what went on. We had a lot of rookies go out there. So I'd be keen to see how they stacked up. So let's take a look at that together now. All right, hopefully you can see that on the screen in front of you. So Leclerc had some issues earlier on in the session, but somehow manages to top the session. So I guess they just sent him out on a bit of a light fuel, soft tire shebang just to get him comfortable with the car. It's not a bad play just to get his confidence up after he missed most of the session. But the McLarens look quick. Mercedes look fairly strong in this session. But when we get on to FP2, they struggled a little bit more. Gasly seems to be always up there with the Hasses as well. Colapinto's up there as well in FP1. So all is good at the moment for Franco. But like I said, you got to build a weekend. There's more to it than just one practice session. So here's the interesting first insight for me is Felipe Drugovich versus Fernando Alonso, who's done a good job there. And then obviously Perez making it inside the top 10 with the highest top speed here. That's also good. Lawson good. Bottas good. And then you've got all the rookies here after pretty much apart from Guan Yu Zhou. So the standout for me was Felipe Drugovich versus Fernando Alonso. Why don't we have a look at their telemetry a little bit later? But before we do, if we can just get onto the top speeds and have a look at those together. So like we said, we got Perez 330. And I'm just looking at cars here, guys. I'm looking at colors. I'm not looking at people per se. So I'm looking at the Mercs here, 325. The McLarens here, 324 and 325. What do we got? The Astons up there and the Red Bulls up there as well. So that's good for them. But that Red Bull doesn't turn very well. So maybe they want to whack a whole bunch of front wing on that. and also play around with the mechanical grip of the car as well. So they've got scope at least to add on a bunch of front wing if you're in the Red Bull camp. And the Ferraris 327, they're up there as well. So potentially those guys want to add a little bit more front wing as well. Just because I know the McLarens are quick and they're not up there in terms of straight line speed. So you want to head more in that direction. If I could give some advice to those teams who have got straight line speed but don't have overall lap time, then you want to start making some trades. All right, let's jump over the telemetry. We're going to have a look at Felipe Drugovich and Fernando Alonso, the Brazilian and the double world champion, Brazilian rookie and double world champion, and see what's going on there. And hopefully I'll give you guys some insight. All right, hopefully you can see that on the screen in front of you. This is FP1, Abu Dhabi, Felipe Drugovich. We've picked Fernando Alonso's 25.7. Where is that? That's this one here. So that's the final runs, guys, just at the end. And then Felipe's 26. So Alo with the upper hand by 0.3. If you have a look at the track dominance, it's pretty much into all the braking zones. So braking into turn 1, braking into turn 5, braking into the 6 and 7 chicane. On the entry here, braking here into this long corner. Braking again, braking. So just without having looked at the data yet and just looking at the track dominance, it looks like Mr. Alo's got a bit of confidence under braking. Let's have a look here into turn 5 and see if that's what we're seeing. Alonso braking earlier here. So that's interesting that he's finding time on the way in. I guess he's braking slightly gentler. Let's double check that theory down into another braking zone. Where's the brakes? Pretty similar there, but Alo carrying a lot more throttle into the 6 and 7. Was he doing that over here? Give me a sec. Into turn 5, was he carrying the throttle as well? No, they were similar on throttle. Okay, so some differences. So braking earlier here, but softer, going straight past Felipe's braking zone here and carrying more throttle. Let's have a look what's going on into the long corner. Again, with the same thing with the throttle. So I think generally speaking, he's just driving past Felipe's braking point. This is Alo in this teal color here, just carrying more speed on the entry. Let's check out this Mickey Mouse section, the first braking zone here. Again, Alo braking a little bit later, again carrying the throttle. So this is the theme, guys, again carrying the speed in. So like we said, Fernando's just a little bit later on the brakes and he's just got a better feel for that at the moment. So that's one insight that I can give you guys as to one of the areas a rookie can be struggling. But look, I mean, there's going to be a lot of areas where a rookie can be struggling. It's going to be confidence under braking, confidence under throttle, mid-corner confidence, just the timing of the gears, the way they set up the car, you know, running different brake balances and different differential settings for these types of corners. Obviously, if you've got heavy straight line braking into the 6 and 7 chicane, and then you've got something totally different after that into the long corner here of turn 8. So, you know, Alo's a master at changing all the settings on the car to get the optimal car performance for each corner type. So, you know, just to highlight to you guys the levels that Felipe could be struggling with. I mean, it can go on and on and on. I mean, just because he's a rookie doesn't mean too much. But yeah, initially, first instances, it looks like it's just where they're braking and how much speed they're carrying on the entry into the corner. Alrighty, FP2 analysis. Let's jump over to the results and have a look together now. Right, hopefully you can see that on the screen in front of you. So this is where the McLarens really turned it on. Now, we said that traction was going to be the most important thing this weekend. Traction out of, let's say, the turn 5 slow speed corner and out of the 6 and 7 chicane and just generally through the back end of the track, even the last corner. And traction being important because these corners are off camber and there's like a crest at the apex. So you go over this crest and the rear gets light and then they're off camber. So the traction is just a pain in the backside. So everyone was saying in my chat, McLaren. And they're 100% bang on. It is McLaren at the moment. Now, this is going to be the most representative session, guys, FP2, that we get for qualifying and that we get for the race. So FP1, FP3 are kind of, you know, with the sun out doing whatever. This is more like, you know, the track's dropped 10 degrees here since FP1. So if you're a McLaren fan, all is well. Hopefully they can secure the constructor's title if they don't keep their foot flat throughout some solid yellow flags. Hulkenberg, interesting to see up there. The Ferraris are obviously, you know, best of the rest, I guess. And then, but there's also some interesting results like Bottas, Magnussen, Albon. So that car is quick, mate. This is the thing with Williams. What's Albon doing up there? Like, I'm under the opinion that the Williams is not a bad car. And with someone decent in there, they could have collected points throughout the entirety of the last 6 races. Maybe not Qatar, but they could have collected points like throughout most of the, the final third of this championship. So, oh dear. Anyway, that's just, it's sad to see him there because that proves that the car is capable and that they should be I just feel sorry for it. But I feel sorry, but I'm also like, nah, you deserve it as well. So anyway, Alex doing a good job up there. And then you got these guys have got a new front wing, the Visa Cash App cars. So we've got Russell back there. So interesting. Maybe we'll have a look at Hamilton, Russell. And then we've got a big difference here between Perez and Max as well. So we need to see what's going on between those two. So without further ado, why don't we jump over to the telemetry and have a quick look at those guys together. All right, hopefully you can see that on the screen in front of you. So I've just picked one of Checo's laps and one of Max's laps in FP2 where Checo was half a second quicker. And we just have a look at some track dominance. Now, this is classic Checo. Whenever the car understeers a little bit, Max kind of goes missing a little bit. And, this is generally talking, obviously he mispracticed one, but generally speaking, Max kind of goes missing and then Checo kind of, shows some good performance. But there's some weird stuff going on here just with these speeds, right? So this is after they come out of turn 1, it's the flat left and right down to turn 2. Some weird energy usage for Perez and like a weird kind of just some lifting here for Max in the throttle. You can see he's lost some speed. He's lost like 3/10, 2.5 to 3/10 before they even get down. So not sure what's going on there. Why don't we ditch that lap for Max? I don't want that one if that's how it's going to be. Why don't we pick something else? Let's see. Yeah, again. Wow. That's interesting. Okay. So Max has got some strange lifting going on, as you can see here. I'm not sure what this is all about, to be honest. If that's what he's doing most of the time, why don't we just quickly compare some other laps? I'm not sure why he's lifting there. I'm curious now. So here's one with the 3. Again, Max. Wow. Okay. So look, guys, I'm not sure about this, but anyway, Max is lifting through this left and right. I don't know if he's aware of that, but there's 3 or 4 laps that I've checked now. Interesting to see Perez with a lift here as well. So is this confidence from Max? I doubt it, but why is Checo lifting in here as well? Let me double click on this, guys, for you. So you can see in this, generally it's a flat left, right. In qualifying it will be at least. Max has got a shallow lift through both of it. And then normally Checo's keeping it flat. And in this particular instance, Checo has got a lift as well. So, we'll check the Mercedes later and see if they're lifting into there. But that's my first insight, guys. And I'm looking at this live together with you guys now. So this is my first look at it. A lot of top speed here for Max. So maybe that's just different energy usage. Interesting to see that, the speed for Max when he gets back on throttle. So I don't know what's going on with their wing setup, their top speed, their battery usage, their deployment. It's really weird. This is the fast right-hander just before the last corner. Max is showing a lift here. Check this out. See this blue where it lifts in throttle, which Checo keeps it flat through that corner. So that's very strange, guys. Max just can't, there's not enough front, I guess, in the car for it to. And from what I saw, the car was getting a lot of push. That's a lot of understeer when Max was on throttle. So he probably wants to have a look at the on-throttle differential and just wind that back heap so that when he is on throttle, he can turn through these fast corners. So there you go, guys. I think that is our insight, is that when Max is flat on throttle, he's picking up a lot of understeer. And so that'll run you wide here on throttle coming out of this long corner as well. And so it's just, he's not confident to keep the foot flat and turn into the high-speed corner because he knows it's just going to wash the front. So he's having to lift to get the car to turn. So yeah, that is interesting, actually. That's a fascinating insight. Let's take a look at the Mercedes now and pick some of their laps and see what's going on. So we've got Hamilton up there and Russell struggling. And we just want to double click on a few laps. Where do we want to pick? This one here, 24.1. Yeah, let's just pick some of the soft laps in the middle when they went for it. Hamilton with the upper hand by 0.4. I just want to see if they're lifting or not. No, they're not. Check this out. See this straight line here? That's the throttle, that's the throttle pinned. through this high speed left and right. And if we check that fast right-hander at the back of the circuit, again, this straight line across here. So the Mercedes boys seem to be driving much better. As you can see, their speeds look a lot. So there seems to be some sort of strange difference between the Red Bulls, like why Checo can keep it flat in those areas and Max can't. That's my first insight for you guys. So where is Lewis Hamilton finding the lap time? Well, it's in the final part of the lap. You see the delta's pretty flat for the most part. And then it starts going up. And this is really interesting, guys, that you're seeing these dips, like time in favor of George Russell and then Lewis getting it back on the exit, and then time in favor of George, and then Lewis getting it back on the exit, time in favor of George, but then Lewis getting it back on the exit. This is very uncharacteristic. This must be the long corner of turn 9. This is very uncharacteristic Lewis Hamilton here, guys. So very strange. Normally Lewis is the one getting all of the lap time on the way in. So you can see Russell in Aqua carrying that speed in and getting that delta advantage, but Lewis, you know, finding the time back on the exit. So maybe these guys are watching my videos and trying to understand what's going on here. So that's where Lewis seems to be finding a bit of the lap time. It just continues to grow here. So Lewis gets a mega drive out of this long turn 9 and blasts down to here. And that's the delta going from, you know, almost equal to, you know, to 3/10 in Lewis Hamilton's favor. He also manages to find a few more tenths in this Mickey Mouse part here as well. So there you go, guys. That's one of the insights, is that normally we're seeing Lewis being the one committed on the way into the corner, finding time on the way in and losing it on the way out. This is the reverse now in FP2, where George is, for some reason, finding time on the way in. Lewis is being a lot more patient, a lot more progressive, getting on throttle harder, earlier, faster, and then carrying good exit speed through these long corners as well. So very interesting there as well. Let's take a look at the speed traps together and see if anything different went on here. So we saw the Mercedes struggling, well, not struggling, but, you know, in the back half, and McLaren in the back half. And we said that was good for their lap time because, you know, they got a lot of front end in the car, more front wing, more front grip. And, you know, these cars are quick, right? And then, yeah, we said potentially in FP1, there was some scope for the Perez's and the Ferraris to add some front wing and see if they can, you know, lower that top speed, find some more grip in the corners. Did Ferrari do that? Yeah, they fell back a little bit. But did Perez, where's Perez? Wow, Perez fell back quite a lot actually. So there you go, guys. And Max is up there. So I'm saying that if you've got good straight line speed, I'm not sure it's working in your favor. I don't see many of these guys topping the sessions. I see Norris topping the session, Piastri topping the session, and I see Mercedes doing pretty well and Albon doing well. These guys are in the back half of the speed trap. So these guys here, the Verstappens and Alo and Leclerc and whatever, they maybe want to wind on a little bit of front wing and just try to get the front to work in these in some of these long corners. So there you go, guys. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, learned something from it. If you did, please drop me a question or thought in the comments section below, and I'll see you in the next one.